As far as how this relates to some of the stuff I've learned in my education classes here, there are definitely some things that make sense based on my education classes. The getting learners with using different methods of presentation, getting students, hang them with auditory, visual, reading and writing, drawing. They're just getting students of different learning styles in. That's definitely something I noticed in her class that matches up with what I've learned at my education courses here at Tech. Another thing is just trying to get students actively engaged in the material. That's another one. As far as differences, I think her class is a lot more based strictly on fact and just those concrete, learn this fact, and this fact. I think there are a lot of factors in that. Of course, there are the SOLs that definitely probably push her in that direction. As well, we're also dealing with 6th graders. They're kind of on the young side for abstract thinking, although personally I might do a little bit more of that based on my learning at Tech, but y'all know I'll just have to see as I really get into it, getting into my own teaching, to see whether or not what I've seen in the classroom is what reality is, or whether I maybe can have some more opportunities to put some of the things that I've seen or that I've learned in my education classes into effect in my classroom. I think I'll just have to try it and see. And as my teachers told me before, sometimes you try and you fall flat on your face and you just learn from that and keep on going. Speaking of which, moving on to other stuff that's been going on, this lesson I observed was actually a couple of weeks ago now, because I've been teaching all day, every day, pretty much Monday through Thursday for a couple of weeks now. That has been interesting. I think it's fair to say that this past week has been one of the longest of my life. Between doing that and just doing the extracurricular things that I have to do in my life. Worked one day this week, had church functions a couple of days this week. Trying to fit in the education coursework as well. This vlog is coming to you several days late, fortunately. My apologies. So just once again, getting into that kind of, I guess you could call grammar schooling, with just so much going on that you have to deal with, and it's been a struggle, but I think certainly something that I can expect to see in my real world teaching as well. As far as working with the kids, again, I've definitely had some things not go the way I thought they would. I think generally it's just been one of those things where you do something a couple times. I teach the same thing, pretty much the same thing 4 times, and it gets better. I mean, 4 times a day for our 4 classes, and it gets better every time that I teach it, I think, for the most part. But just that, seeing what works and what doesn't, I mean, moving on, that's been one of the biggest things that I've seen these past 2 weeks. Had a couple good days, had a couple really not very good days at all. I'm thinking about a couple of bad days, classroom management, just something where I feel like I can just still continue to learn. There's been some instances where I've had the class get out of control for a second, then I've seen, oh, okay, maybe I need to find a way to make this transition smoother, and then the next class that day I will make things a bit more clear and not have that problem. At some point my teachers also told me it's just one of those things you just kind of have to learn what you can from it, but just also move on and not let yourself get down, because you can't really afford to. You've got to keep on trucking, keep on going. Had a couple really good days too. It's like just when you think it's really not going well, you'll just have a really little thing with a student. They'll just kind of get you right back into it. Also did parent-teacher conferences today. I sat in for those for about 3 hours. That was very interesting, getting to meet some of the parents and seeing some of the students there as well. Very interesting. We were literally sprinting from parent to parent. But of course, as all the teachers tell you, that's a very good problem to have so many parents want to meet with you and talk to you about how your children are doing. Of course, there were a few parents that weren't there that I think really would have liked to see Not surprising there. That really goes along with what I've learned in my education classes, just about the important role that family background can play in a student's attitude, how a student performs. I'll see you next week.